Welcome to today's art tutorial. We're going to be painting a landscape with mountains and a small lake using oil paint. There will be some time-lapse sections, so if you're painting along, please feel free to pause the video so that you don't get left behind. I've got a small wrapped canvas on the left and a palette on the right. The colours from top left to right are titanium white, lemon yellow, yellow ochre, the next row cadmium red, crimson alizarin and permanent mauve. The next row ceruleum blue, French ultramarine and primary cyan. And finally some sap green. We'll start with the sky. I'm using a palette knife to mix the paint, so using a mix of white, lemon yellow and a touch of cadmium red. Mixing these together will create the first of several warm colours that will be used for a sunset. Taking a small amount of cadmium red, a much larger amount of white and a very small touch of lemon yellow. A third colour to the right, yellow ochre and white. A new colour using crimson alizarin mixed with a generous amount of white. You can see that this makes a pale pink. I'll take some of this colour and create a new colour to the left, adding some lemon yellow. Now using some mauve mixed with crimson and some white. Again, taking some of this mix to make a new colour on the left beneath the others, adding some lemon yellow and additional crimson. The first brush to start painting. A quick refresh on the colours. Number 1, lemon yellow, white and a touch of red. Number 2, the same colours but a bit more red and only a touch of the yellow. Number 3, yellow ochre and white. Number 4, crimson, white and lemon yellow. Number 5, the pale pink colour made from crimson and white. Number 6, a mix of mauve, crimson and white. Number 7, the same mix with extra crimson and some lemon yellow, making a deep orange colour. I am starting using the yellow colours, the lighter ones, and using these in the top right hand corner using small strokes. A little white, we're blending as we go along. Where we meet the yellow, the white and the yellow combine to make a lighter yellow colour. A little of the white, red and yellow mix and some more white. The sky will be a mix of all the colours that we made earlier, and it will make a pretty sunset behind the mountains. now shaping the mountains, making triangular shapes and painting around them. More of the mountain range, using the darker tones here to define the shape and to make it stand out. We're going to make a small circle for the sun using white and lemon yellow. It's not so well defined in this sky, but it will be the brightest area. Here's a top tip. I often use both sides of the brush to avoid wasting any paint. We can now start mixing colours for the mountains, starting with lemon yellow, sap green, some French ultramarine and some white. I'll begin on the left. This mountain is closest to the sun and will have the most light falling on it. Using the brush sideways on, I can reach to the tip of the mountain peak and make a narrow pointed top. Now we're creating the slope of the mountain, which curves to the right. So here we're filling in the background for the adjoining slope on the left. For the sunlit areas, I'm using some more white and lemon yellow mixed together. There won't be a distinct line here where the mountains meet, so this part will be blended as we progress with the picture. Mixing in some Coeruleum Blue. This bottom area is more in the shade and will be a little darker than the area beneath the sun. A mix that includes some white and French ultramarine to add darker shaded areas, and blending it in, being mindful not to make the area one smooth colour. The differences in colour and shading give texture to the side of the mountain. Making a curve for the land in the foreground. This marks the end of the visible part of the mountains. Some primary cyan, French ultramarine mixed with white and the green mix. This has made a darker bluey green, which will go on the right-hand side of this mountain, the shady side, making it look much more 3D and less flat. I'm using downward strokes, moving in the direction of the slope. More primary cyan and ultramarine to add more blue, a cooler colour and a darker shade, both at the same time. Darkening the front left and leaving some space at the ridge at the top for a lighter shade. Adding white mixed in to make the bottom area much brighter, almost misty in appearance. Now we're adding some white to the side of the mountain over the blue. Now adding white along the ridge lower down to indicate snow. It could be light coloured rocks or snow. I'm flicking the brush down and to the left, once again following the shape or the contours of the mountainside. Adding lemon yellow for highlights. I'm having to do this sideways to make the correct shape. Using extra white for the very tip of the peak. I'm varying the way that I lay the white. To do this, I vary the pressure of the bristles against the canvas, on top of the colour beneath, pressing more in some areas and using a lighter touch in others. Some light hitting the lower part of the mountain on the right. Some dark green made from the two darkest blues, French ultramarine and primary cyan, and then some sap green. This will go down here in the valley between the two peaks, an area in the shade. Some crimson and mauve. Now some white. I want to add some crimson to the base of the next mountain to represent the colour of heather that's often seen in some areas, particularly in Scotland or Wales, although the original inspiration for this painting was in the High Alps in Austria. Making a base colour for the ridge using green, yellow and white. Switching to this filbert brush, it has soft bristles and is good for blending. Some sunlight on this left ridge. More crimson to lift or brighten this colour. Using white to lighten this area. A mix of both yellows and cerulean blue to make a light green. This is a golden glow created by the sun, and so there is mostly yellow at the bottom and gradually mixed with more green higher up. White blended with blue and green. Making a light blue-green mix, the base of this mountain is further forward and so it catches more light. I'm using the larger flat brush to apply the paint to a larger area. Some dark ultramarine tones. Adding in some lemon yellow closer to the foreground. The closer to the foreground, the more vibrant the colours will be. Using darker tones once again for the right side of the mountain in the shadow. Now adding some white for texture and snow along the ridge. I'm making this section lighter because it faces the sun. It will be darker closer to the base. The darker side on the right, using more of the blues and less white. Some ceruleum blue and white for the base colour up here. This will be a lighter area. However, this mountain is more in the background and furthest from the sun, so it will be darker than the others. Blocking out the whole area, ready for further colour. Adding mauve for the dark ridge. repeating here and adding ultramarine to define the shape. This is applied loosely before adding more detail. Spreading the colour using white. Taking white and lemon yellow, I'm adding highlights to the left of the painting using the chisel tool. Now the tip of this peak. White mixed with cadmium red, adding some lighter pink here. It almost matches the colour in the sky. The flat brush can be used to add the lighter yellow mix for the sunlight in this area. The paint thins as it is blended upwards and mixes with the background. Primary cyan mixed with Coeruleum Blue and yellow. A separate mixed primary cyan, ultramarine and white, and a bit of mauve. The darker mix is going up here for the last mountain. I can use the edge of the chisel tool to create wavy lines or ridges down the side of the mountain. These form part of the cracks or rock formations. Painting from the bottom up, leaving some lighter areas. Allowing some of the white on the brush to lay flat on the colour in small streaks, which we can add to or blend in later. Using the same technique here, you could almost imagine that someone is skiing down here. Switching to a larger filbert brush with soft bristles, I'm beginning the foreground using sap green, lemon yellow and white. I've also added some spreading medium. You might like to use linseed oil. As a little reminder, be sure to safely dispose of any cloths that you use so that they are safely discarded at the end of the painting session. Some sap green down here. The ground undulates, so some areas will be light and others will be darker. Extra lemon yellow, more white to lighten this area. These are quite broad strokes, quite quick, to give it texture. Adding some Coeruleum Blue, this will be the edge of the lake. Making a curvy bank, this area is catching the sun. Adding primary cyan to make this section darker. Moving into a sunlit area, adding lemon yellow and the mixing medium to thin the paint. This will make it lighter in colour. The first mix was white, ultramarine, cerulean blue and sap green. Then I've mixed the sap green, primary cyan and both yellows. Now taking some lemon yellow, cerulean blue and white. The chisel tool, using the second mix, which includes yellow ochre and primary cyan, adding some ultramarine, this will darken the front right corner of the painting, whilst the yellow ochre adds warmth. Some of the lemon yellow mix to brighten the top edge of the land. I'll continue adding a mix of lights and darks using the flat edge of the chisel tool until the bank is complete. Brightening the golden glow behind the lake at the bottom of the mountains, using yellows, red and white to make a pretty vibrant orange. To make the lake, I'm using cerulean blue, spreading the colour using white to fill in the far side. Switching to the flat brush, using some primary cyan to darken the edge here. adding a hint of green for the pond life, as I call it. Some white for the reflections of the light. Dashes of lemon yellow for the sunlight. Final touches. Some pink on the bank to complement the mountain and the sky. I hope that you've enjoyed this painting today and will be back next time.